Hey everybody, so glad to have you here today with our STEM Saturday. If you watched our last video, you'll know that I have the three little pigs here to talk about the three states of matter. And then at the end, I have a couple experiments for us to do. These experiments should be household items that you typically would find at home. If not, I have a couple substitutions, and I hope you guys have a lot of fun with them. So let's go ahead and dive into the book. It's called What's the Matter with the Three Little Pigs? And of course, it is a fairy tale of physics with matter. There are three states of matter. Can any of you guys tell me what the three states are? Awesome. If you guys said solid, liquid, and gas, you're right. So let's see what's up with the three little pigs. Once upon a time, there was a family of pigs, a huge family, a family that was outgrowing its house. I'm sorry, you three, but you're old enough to be on your own now, Mama Pig said. I need the room. Steve, Hector, and Alice were sad, but they knew Mama was right. It was time for them to go. That is a very large family. Steve packed his teddy bear. Alice grabbed a few books. Hector filled his suitcase with mud, and Alice shook her head at her little brother. What's the matter? Hector asked. Mud is magic. No, mud is matter, Alice said. It's basic physics. Huh? Hector said. No pig knew more about science than Alice. She loved reading about how things worked. Matter is the stuff that's all around us, she explained. Everything in the world is matter. You, me, mud, this house, that wolf on TV. BB Wolf. Breaking news. Better watch out for that wolf. A photo of a wolf had popped up on the TV screen. The reporter said the police were looking for him. BB Wolf stands for Big Bad Wolf. He had scared a little girl in a Red Riding Hood, and he was dangerous and soon on the loose. Before the three pigs left, they looked at the ads in the newspaper. We each need to find a house that will keep us safe from the wolf, said Steve. Something solid. Solid, Hector asked. What does that mean? Well, Hector, Alice said, there are three basic states of matter. She pointed to a tree in the yard. That tree over there is a solid form of matter. Solids are the strongest. They hold their shape. The pond water over there is liquid form of matter. What's the third form? Hector asked. Can any of you tell me what the third form is? Let's read and find out. Gas. That's right, Alice said. The air around us is a gas called oxygen. Gases are almost always invisible. Hector giggled over the word gas and looked at the house ads again. He circled his favorite. Steve and Alice also circled their favorite too. After hugging Mama, the three pigs headed out into the world. The next day, Steve stood proudly at his new house. It was a houseboat. How many of you would like to live on a houseboat? That'd be fun, but I don't know if I could live on one indefinitely. So it floated near the middle of the lake donut. Steve liked how the lake was shaped like a donut, but he didn't like that there was something hairy creeping along the shore. Little pig, in the middle of the lake, the creature said, I'm going to eat you like a birthday cake. It was BB Wolf. You can't get here unless you swimmy swim swim, Steve shouted back, and you don't look like a great swimmer. Then I'll wait and I'll howl until the snow begins to fall, the wolf replied. Steve shook his head. That was really an awful rhyme, you know. The wolf shrugged and said, I agree. It wasn't a winner, my soon-to-be pork chop dinner. The snow fell hard, really hard. It was one of the biggest, coldest snowstorms ever. Steve watched as the water in the lake donut changed. How do you think it changed? That's right. It started as a liquid and it froze into a solid. Oh no, I'm oinked, Steve said. I forgot that matter can change states. I'm going to eat you with butter and rice, the wolf called, as soon as the lake water turns to ice. Steve grunted in horror as the water froze. The liquid had become a solid. BB Wolf started skating across the frozen lake. I've got to get out of here, Steve said. Little pig, where are you going? BB Wolf called. You won't get far now that it is snowing. Your rhymes stink, Steve shouted, scrambling off into the night to find Hector. Some time later, Steve found Hector's house. It was made of entirely ice. Steve knocked hard on the front door until Hector opened it. Hi, Steve, Hector said. No time for that, bro, Steve said, pushing aside his brother. That wolf is hot on my curly tail. Hector closed the door and locked it. Don't worry, he said. We're safe in here. The walls are made of solid ice. Come on, let's skate. So the brothers strapped on a pair of skates, and the two skated around Hector's living room. They sang songs and forgot all about BB Wolf until a knock, knock, knock came at the door. Hector looked through the peephole. Oh, mud, it's that wolf guy, he said. Can't escape from me one way or another, BB Wolf called. Now I'll eat you and your piggy brother. You'll never get in. We're surrounded by icy ice, Steve shouted, and the wolf smiled, took out his cell phone, and tapped it a few times. Oh, that's fine. You can't stop your yipping, BB Wolf said. I've just placed an order with next day shipping. Steve and Hector couldn't imagine what that awful wolf was up to. What do you think the wolf ordered? Let's read on and find out. Very early the next morning, a delivery truck had arrived. And what did BB Wolf get? That's right, a flamethrower. He squeezed the trigger and fire shot out. Little pigs, I don't mean to boast, he began, but this is sure to be the best ever pig roast. Steve and Hector watched as the walls of Hector's house turned from a solid to a liquid. The fire is changing the state of the matter, Steve shouted. Your ice house is turning into water. Let's go, Hector said, and the pigs ran out the back door and hid behind some bushes. The wind blew hard and cold. It nipped at Steve and Hector as they watched BB Wolf melt the house to the ground. The wolf sniffed the air. He chuckled. The ice house is melted, he said. No dinner was inside, but I can smell you're near, pigs. You cannot hide. BB Wolf started creeping toward the bushes. He crept closer and closer just before he reached Steve and Hector. He took a step and fell onto his furry bottom. Good for that wolf. Nice, Steve said. A little patch of water refroze and changed back to ice. Matter can change back to its old state? Hector asked. Well, sometimes yes, and sometimes no, Steve said. It depends on the matter. Before the wolf could get up, the two brothers ran off to find their sister. Alice. What kind of house do you think Alice chose? She chose a beautiful cabin. Her cabin was made of stone with log posts out front, and the brothers pounded on the heavy door. Hey guys, Alice said, come on in. I'm about to make some tea. Steve and Hector hurried inside and told Alice their stories. He won't get in here, Alice said. This place is made of solid stone, and the wood won't melt like ice. The teapot blew its whistle. Little puffs of steam escaped through the spout. Hector pointed at the stove. Your water is whistling, he said. Matter is changing, Alice said. The water inside the teapot changes to a gas or evaporates when it's heated. Some of it escapes through the hole. That's what makes the whistle blow. Steve peered out the window. We might need to make an escape too, he said. BB Wolf is back. Little pigs, when will you learn? The wolf sang. Ice can melt and wood can burn. The wolf shot fire from his flamethrower and the wood on Alice's cabin started to burn. Don't worry, boys, Alice said. The state of the wood is changing, but fire cannot burn stone. Steve opened the window and yelled, Nice try, dog breath. We're all safe in here from your teethy teeth. Once the wood was burned up, BB Wolf tossed aside his flamethrower and disappeared into the woods. Is he gone? Hector asked. I sure hope so, said Steve. Suddenly, a rumble shook the house. Out of the woods rolled a giant crane with a wrecking ball. Well, that is sure to knock down some stone. BB Wolf sat in the driver's seat. I'm going to make these quiet woods louder as I knock your little piggy house down to powder, he shouted. The wolf wiggled the crane's controls. The big arm swung back and then forward. The wrecking ball smashed into the side of Alice's cabin with a boom. Oh no, Alice cried. I thought this house was solid, Hector said. It is, said Steve. The wolf's not changing the state of Alice's house. He's changing the shape. Oh, the rock pieces are still solid, Alice said, but they won't keep us safe anymore. So the three pigs ran as fast as they could into the woods. Soon they came up on a small roadside stand selling hot air balloon rides. Hot air balloon ride sounds fun. And they decided it was a perfect getaway. So they bought their tickets, hopped in, and quickly rose to the sky. Hector looked at the big balloon above him. Alice, is that a gas in there? He asked. Why, yes, Alice said. It's called helium. Gases expand to fill the container they're in. The balloon above us is a kind of container. Unlike solids, Steve added, gases don't have their own definite shape. They take the shape of whatever container they are in. That's all very cool, Hector said. But look, there's another balloon full of gas heading our way. And who do you think it is? Yep, it's BB Wolf. Little pigs, high up in the sky, he called. Don't you three know that pigs can't fly? Steve frowned. I really don't like this guy. We need to be lighter so we can go up higher, Alice said. Quick, throw some weights overboard. The pigs untied the basket's weights. Even so, the wolf got closer and closer. Steve pointed at Hector's suitcase. Sorry, Hector, Steve said. Your suitcase has to go. But my mud reminds me of home, Hector said, and he opened up his luggage to show his brother. But the squishy mud had hardened and turned into a brick. The mud changes states, Alice said. It's a solid now. Oh, Hector said. Then never mind. And without warning, Hector tossed the heavy block of dried mud over the side of the basket, and the chunk landed right on the wolf's balloon. Pop! Yes! Nice shot, bro, Steve shouted. The pigs watched as the balloon lost its gas. It zipped back and forth and across the sky, sending BB Wolf and his horrible rhymes far, far away. Where are we going to live now? Hector asked. For you, Hector, someplace with mud, I suppose, Alice said. But with that wolf gone, does it really matter where we go? The end. So that book was filled with all kinds of examples of states of matter. And the next few experiments I have are also going to talk about that. So the first one I have is actually an experiment with 3 different kinds of liquids. So they're all 3 liquids, and I want to see what will happen if we put them into a glass. So I have oil, cooking oil. This is canola oil. You can use vegetable oil, olive oil, any kind of oil, really. Baby oil if you have it. And I have corn syrup here. You could use maple syrup or really any kind of syrup that's thicker in consistency. And I have trusty water. So for this experiment, I like to put food coloring inside of the clearer liquids to make sure that we can track what they're all doing. So very quickly, I am going to put a couple drops of yellow in my water. You can choose whatever color you like. I just happen to have those on hand. And I will do pink for my corn syrup. Now I have a very large glass here, as you can see. I'll go ahead and make that back just a little bit so you can see better. And it fits 1 cup of each liquid. So depending on what kind of container you're using, you can adjust your measurements. As long as they're equal, it really doesn't matter. So I will go ahead and start with my oil first. So I have my measuring cup, and I'm going to go ahead and pour my oil in, measure it out, and add it to my cup. So as you can see, I set that right in front of there, but it is the first one, so we should be good. You guys can see the oil in there. I am going to get my corn syrup poured out. Now, what do you guys think is going to happen whenever I put the corn syrup in there? Do you think that because they're all liquids that they're going to mix together? Well, this experiment is actually going to show us that not all liquids are created equal. So again, I'm going to add a little bit of food coloring just because my corn syrup is light corn syrup. If you use dark syrup, you won't really need that different color. You'll be able to see it as it is. But because oil and water and my light corn syrup all kind of look the same, it's a little bit easier to see what's going to happen. And it's kind of cool to look and play with too. So I give that a little mix. We'll go ahead and set that aside. And now we will pour in our corn syrup. Are you ready? All right. Do you guys see what's happening here? So our corn syrup is this pinkish red color. And then we have our oil up here. They're separating. Let's go ahead and dump in. I'm going to give a little stir to our water. Again, I made our water yellow so that we could kind of see a difference. Here is our water. What do you think will happen when I pour in the water? If you guys can see, the oil is actually separating. Let me try to move it closer. Yellow may have not been the smartest choice, but as you guys can see, the water's here and the oil is up here, and it actually bubbled and it separated, and again the corn syrup stayed down here. Videos are sometimes kind of hard to see these things on, so I really recommend that you do this activity at home because it's super fun and you can play with the different layers. Some of the cool things you can do is put something in there, kind of pull the liquid out and turn it into your own lava lamp and kind of watch them as they separate and what happens. You can use a dowel rod like I have here, or you could use a pipe cleaner and other solids that have different states of matter. But if you guys see here, you can see it traveling through, hopefully, just like that. So there's all kinds of fun things you can do with this. How many of you guys predicted that all 3 were going to separate in the order that they did? Make sure to leave me comments and let me know so that I know you guys are trying this out and definitely participating. So our next activity, I kind of have had mixed results. Before I get into that, let me tell you that these liquids all have a different molecular structure. So some have more molecules in them, which make their consistency thicker, and some have less, which make them thinner. So they are taking the shape, but when they're put together, that's why they layer, because it's kind of acting like a solid. So each one has more and more fluidity. Now that we got to that, we'll go ahead and get to our next one. So the next one with the 3 states of matter, you need some kind of clear or light colored soda, Sprite, 7-Up, ginger ale. I happen to have club soda, and raisins. So the 3 states of matter that are included with this activity are the liquid and the solid, which is the raisins and the beverage. But there's actually a gas in there, and it's because it's carbonated. So what's going to happen in this one is you're going to fill up your glass with a carbonated beverage, light color so that you can see the raisins, and you're going to drop a few raisins in there. Now, a solid will usually sink. These are going to sink to the bottom, and then the carbonation, which is the gas, are going to surround the raisins. Whoops. And should lift them up. So again, this one might be kind of hard to see on the video, but the gas surrounds the raisin and it makes it lift up, and then as the gas dissipates, the solid goes back down. So kind of like a balloon, when it has helium in it, the gas takes the form of the balloon and it's lighter than air, it makes it lift. But as the helium goes out of the balloon, it becomes heavier and it starts to fall. Have you ever seen a balloon deflate? It's kind of the same concept. So again, that one's a fun, quick one that you can kind of just have some fun with. And this last one is an experiment with a chemical change. So I'm sure all of you have done a volcano or some kind of experiment with vinegar and baking soda. I like this one a lot because you get to watch a balloon blow up as it traps the gas from the chemical reaction, because you do get to hear the fizzing and the popping of vinegar and baking soda reacting together, but do you really get to see the gas that it's producing? So with this, we're able to trap the gas and we're able to see it. So you need an empty water bottle. A funnel makes everything easier. Vinegar, baking soda, and a scoop. So I am using the same funnel because I only have access to one right now. And you're just going to put your balloon on the end there. This is the scoop I use for the baking soda. It's probably like maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons full of baking soda. So I get it as full as I can in there. I go ahead and dump it into my funnel and I get my balloon filled. Now, this would be a really cool time to write a message on the balloon, or even I bought these really cute sticker packs that come with a balloon, and you can kind of decorate your balloon when you're done. This one's actually going to be a kitty cat. My kids really love that. They're a little younger, so for somebody older, maybe you could write a message, or if you're really into art, you could even draw a picture and then watch it like on the balloon and then watch it blow up, and then your picture will get bigger. So once your balloon is full, you can go ahead and set that aside and use your funnel to put in the vinegar. So I fill the vinegar at least halfway up the bottle. Parents that are watching this with their kids, this is a good opportunity for them to kind of get used to measuring utensils and pouring and hand-eye coordination and things like that too. Bigger kids, this seems pretty easy and doable for us. So once you get your bottle with the not the baking soda, the vinegar, you open the balloon, you put it around the edge like this, and then you watch it. You dump it, and the chemical reaction is blowing up the balloon in front of our very eyes. As you can see, everything's booming and bubbling and going crazy. We're catching that gas in here, and it's getting bigger and bigger. The more baking soda and the more vinegar you use, the bigger your balloon will get. So you do want to be careful to not overfill if your balloon is smaller, because then it will pop. In this case, it's very big. So then you just pop it off, tie it, and you got a balloon without even using your mouth. Now, again, you could do whatever you want with the balloon. It's kind of a fun thing to change up depending on the age of the kids that are doing this. And I hope you guys had a good time. All right, so next week I will see you with Cinderella and sound. Can't wait to see you there.